further to the presentation. I hope that you can, if you could just write me on the chat shortly if you can see the presentation properly. Oh yeah, thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan, very much for pasting the link into the chat window. Just one, yes, so you can see the presentation. Perfect. Szukaj w archiwach step by step. Just to let you know, I'll be focusing during another almost an hour on the presenting the materials that I prepared for you. After this time, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So we'll have a little questions and answer session after the presentation is completed. So hope you will enjoy the lecture. Szukaj w archiwach step by step. The portal Szukaj w archiwach is basically, as I said at the very beginning, searching the archives, and this is the biggest portal, the biggest website as for genealogy information, but most importantly, archival information, and as for the Polish archival system. So a few words which are very important to understand how the records are located and how archives are organized, because as you may imagine, it may be simple, but not very easy to trace and not very easy sometimes to understand that every basically system, every country, even in the United States, every state has their own ways of and their own regulations as for storing the documentation. So in the state archives, we collect, we store, we secure, and provide access to the to testimonies of the past. This is the main activity. These are the main activities of Polish state archives. As for the most basic division of on a collection of these state archives, it's worth to mention, and probably you may heard of these names before. State archives, Polish state archives consists of three most important central archives, which are based in Warsaw. These are central archives of historical records in Warsaw called AGAD. We call it AGAD, which is AGHD, AGAD. So the most important documentation of the Polish state from the Middle Ages, from the very Middle Ages to the end of the First World War. Then we have also the archives of new records, records produced after 1918, files of central authorities, institution, and association of a nationwide nature, national digital archives called an NAC, which is the collection of photographic, sound, and film documentation from the beginning of 20th century. Also very interesting one. Although what will be the most interesting for you and for your genealogical search, the most basic one when we talk about the metrical records especially, you'll be interested in the 30 archives of regional nature, along with branch offices collecting historical sources for the history of the particular regions. So also, what is really important, there's one general director of state archives that supervises the whole network in the whole country. Polish state archives are operating network since 1919. The oldest archive that we have in Poland, the state archives, of course, because the church archives are much older, is the mentioned before AGAD archive, which was established in 1808. The oldest documents come from 12th century, the newest from the mid of 21st century. How does it look like on a map? And by the way, this is the map from the official website of Polish State Archives, which is very, very helpful in times, because the maps shows location of all the state archives. Basically, there are for each province of Poland, there is at least one state archive that collects and stores and gives you the access to the records and documentation that concern this particular region, this particular province, as you can see that on the map. What is really interesting about the map and how does it work and how it may help you with your research when you move your cursor on the particular archive. Then you will get the detailed information as for the location. So as you can see here on that example, I have viewed the state archive of Radom, which is more or less in central Poland. You're getting the information about the address, you're getting the contact information, but also it gives you the territory that this particular state archive covers, right? So sometimes if you know the location of your ancestors, Polish ancestors, only on the map, it may also give you the idea on more or less where this in which state archives documentation will be stored. So I really encourage you to even just to look through this website and see how we are navigating in our archival system. What is also really important, Polish state archives, because they are state institutions, they are obliged to respond to all of your queries. So sometimes, really, if you have information, you need information about the records location, and you're looking for some particular information, you can write with, if you know already where the records are stored, in what particular archive, you know that they are not available online, you can always send an inquiry, also the genealogical inquiry, to the particular archive on the provided email address, and they have the obligation to respond to you, right? And here on this website, you have the full list of all the archives together with the contact information. So just if you need that, you're going there and you're getting the contact information, email address, and you're writing with your inquiry. So that's why it's handy to know that such list exists in one place. Apart from the map, there is also the whole list, just to show you that it may be also in that form. The full list with the phone numbers, with the email addresses, with the names. In general, basically, as for all these pages, the pages are available in English. Although the translation is not entirely perfect, right? So there are two ways. Either you're gonna polish your Polish a little bit, or you can always use simply the Google translation, right? So the Google translation, you just need to right click on the mouse and choose Google Translate the site, and you will get really good fairly good translation of the particular website, which will most definitely enable you to navigate through this website easily, just in case you don't understand something, right? But this is quite, as for this contact information, I think it's quite clear and quite obvious as for the addresses that you can copy and paste from this particular website. To understand how the records are stored and then to understand how to navigate the website of Szukaj Warchiwach, so searching the archives, there are two most important rules as for the whole Polish archival system, which are the principle of territorial pertinence and provenance. And the pertinence, as you can see, records created in a given territory or outside of it, but in the course of exercising powers over it, belong to this territory. So this is the first rule. And the principle of provenance, the principle of team membership, unit membership, basically the principle of respecting the relationship between the archival materials included in the archival collection and its creator, which also determines the storage of this collection. So there are, for example, many questions, especially from those one of you whose ancestor came from the so-called border territories, right? Like the territory on the border between Poland and Germany, and there is a question, where will I find this record? If I cannot even entirely say if my ancestors, the more distant one, were German or Polish, if these records were taken to Germany or this records stayed in Poland. So the answer is, if this is today Poland territory, the records which were produced on this particular location are staying in the archive that covers this location, right? Of course, there are exceptions, but the general rule is the administration that was in place back then, where your ancestors lived there and produced the particular documentation, were obliged to store this documentation in this regional archives, and that these documents are not being moved in most of the cases, right? So we can suspect that it will be that this particular documentation can be found in the archives that covers this particular region. So it is always worth to remember. What kind of documents you can expect to find in Polish state archives? Also on the website of Szukaj w archiwach. This is the part of the official wording, official document that states what kind of documentation you may suspect to discover. So there are all different kind of files. There are documents, there's correspondence, financial, technical, and statistical documentation, maps and plans and photographs and films, microfilms, sound recordings, so on and so forth. Of course, that doesn't mean that for every location and for all of your ancestors, you will all find all these kind of documents, just because it depended how the past very intense history of wars and different kind of difficulties that were connected with storing the documentation came through the particular regions, right? So it may happen that some type of documentation may not be available for a particular location, but always, of course, it's worth to find out first if you're lucky enough to have that particular type of documentation being available for the location connected with your ancestors. Coming to the website, szukajwarchiwach.gov.pl. In many cases, people this website basically was operating back in the days as szukajwarchiwach.pl, and people are keep entering this address still, and they're getting no results. Unfortunately, I think this old website should redirect to the new website, which is szukajwarchiwach.gov.pl. So just for you to remember that if you're entering the old address, it's not like the website's not working, it simply doesn't show any results under this old link. So I highly recommend to use the new one. I know it's obvious, but sometimes the most obvious things may not really be clear in the world of internet. So just for you to know, this is the feedback that we got from the other people who were searching for their ancestors. So just for you to remember, www.szukajwarchiwach.gov.pl. The website is available in English as well as in the other language like German or Russian. So this is the view of the main page. You can see here also what kind of documentation you might expect to find on this website. And what is really important, this website was created especially for giving you the information what records are stored in which archives, right? So so for just for you to know, this is the full information. It's not like you'll find all the records here, because all the records which are stored in Polish State Archives on all the branches are still being in the process of digitization, and they're being digitized, and slowly more and more scans are available, but not all of them. Although you will get the full information of all the records that are being stored in the Polish State Archive, and in which archives to find them, in which particular archives to find them. So this is very important to know. And what kind of documents you can find there? There are acts, different kind of documentation, posters, leaflets, technical projects, maps, photographs, sound records, civil records, from the very beginning of Polish history. So basically, there are, of course, different ways of how we can navigate through the website. We can search the information we're looking for by particular location, which is the most, I think, efficient way to find the information. Although you're asking what is acts, are those births, marriages, and death records? Acts is very general, because when you enter acts, then you will find, then you will go through more detailed description, right? Acts is everything, basically. This is general. So then you have to click further to see different type of acts, but I will talk about it more a bit in a few moments. So as I said, you can search by a particular location, which is the most important one. But if you know the archive already, you can narrow down the research to a particular archive. So on the main page, you can start from selecting the archive, right? And I just clicked on this blue button, as you can see on the slide. And you can choose from the list of the archives which are available to search records of the particular archives. Why is it handy? Why is it handy? Because you might say that it's easier to just enter the location of where your ancestors lived and see what are the records only on that location. But what's tricky, it happens as for Polish geography that the name of one location may appear in different provinces. So there may be, for example, which is the location name, which is Dąbrowa, which I can imagine there are like 100 or 200 Dąbrowas all over the Poland, right? So first we have to learn which exact Dąbrowa we're looking for, in which province, so we know which archives we need to search through. Just to let you know. But if you're most definitely sure of this location, of course, you can start just simply from looking only through this archive, through these branches, from where that covers the location from where your ancestors came from. So either looking through particular location or particular archive, or looking through the general search engine. And before we'll go we'll go through the whole path of finding a particular documents and scans in the portal, I just wanted to show you a little bit, just to know what is the description of what are the shortcuts, which are very important, that are being used on this website. So what is the organization? What is the system? How the documents are organized within the website? So because, for example, in within the advanced search, you may search the records by its signature, so by their archival number. And I wanted to show you what this archival number consists of, right? So for you, it will be easier to navigate and to search for particular records. On this example, on this particular slide, you see the spis ludności, which is the civil registry of Kraków from 1815. And you can see, and you will see through all these websites, that there's such a number outlined, which is called reference code on the left hand side in the table, in this blue table, as you can see, the reference code. And so how do we search, how we should understand this reference code? Like every unit, every information, every document that you will locate on the website, or you would like to locate on the site, will have the reference code. And what does this reference code mean? You see this line of numbers. There's so the first number is an individual archive number. So every archive has its number. In case of Kraków National Archive, State Archive / State Archive, this is 29. The next in a row, there is a unit or collection number. Then we have the subunit, the series, and the folder file number. So the last basically number is what we can call the information of the record you're looking for, right? So, you, as you can see, the census, the Kraków census of 1850, the suburb number 10, the houses between 151 to 2012, volume 22 can be found in the unit collection, which numbers 84. There are no subunits. This is the first series, and the record number is 20. So this is very important, and once you will be going through recording again, it will be worth always to know what this particular reference numbers mean, in order, especially in future when you will be willing and need to order the records from the archives. That would be very handy to know what is the reference, what is the signature number. As you can see here, that number again means, so the first number is Kraków National Archive, unit number 84 equals 8050 Kraków City Census. Series are core registers, District 10. Then we have folder name, which is District 10, house number 51 to 212, volume 2022. In most of the cases, the last number may also reflect the page of the document. But as I said, knowing the organization of the archive is very important. Having the idea how to even search for the particular document information is even more important. Nevertheless, as we always say on our lectures, as we talk with everybody who is interested in their Polish family history, location is the key. To specify from where your ancestors came from, because this is how you will find out where are the records, stored, right? In which particular archive. So there are several ways how you can find out more what was the location of your ancestors' fatherland, motherland. The most famous, the most popular one, and the most efficient one are słownik geograficzny, so the geographical dictionary of Polish lands, because it describes location by location, but in the circumstances of the turn of 19th and 20th century, right? And it gives you the information to which parish the particular collection belonged, to which administration, local administration, state administration it belonged. So because it could have changed over time, right? The fact that a small Dąbrówka location belongs nowadays to parish of Główno, I would say, it doesn't mean that it belonged to this parish 100 years ago, when usually your ancestors were emigrating from what it's today is called Poland. So it's worth to check the location, to precise the location before you even start any sort of research. And this dictionary, geographical dictionary of Polish land, is very handy. As I said, it give you the information on the location and it belonging from the turn of 19th and 20th century. So there are other very important databases that you can check the location from the 1930s, from especially as for this German, the general name locations, you can use Kartenmeister, but this is not today's topic. If you need help with the locating a particular place and where it belonged to, which state administration it belonged in the past, you can always come back to us. You can always come back to me. We'll be happy to give you the precise information. What is really important, once you find out the location from where your Polish ancestors came, emigrated, mind the spelling. So it may happen that especially in this Polish database, it requires to give the precise name with sometimes even with Polish characters. How to find it out? You can try to find it especially through Wikipedia, because I honestly never had a situation that the particular location didn't have the description of a particular Polish location didn't have translation to English on Wikipedia. And you can simply copy and paste, the particular location name if it has Polish characters from Wikipedia and enter it into the search engine of a particular database. So this is very, very handy as well. So again, location is the key. So how do we, because as I said, there is this very important regulation and rule that the documents are staying and are being stored in the archive that covers the region where they were issued. We having this name of the location, we use in most of our research, we are starting from entering this location into the databases, such as search in the archives. So this is the main view of the page. As you can see, there is the search engine. So you can use this general search engine. As you can see, you can select the archive, or you can if you want to mostly find birth, marriages, and death records, you can go straight to vital records. What is very important, and interesting and sort of confusing is the fact that you may get different results of the search when you're trying to use the general search engine, as you can see here in the middle of the slide, and a slightly different as for especially metrical records when you use the search vital records. It seems that the database, the source, the results are based on different, slightly different data. So if you're looking for general documentation, not necessarily metrical records as your main focus, please do search the general database. Here, the general search engine, as you can see in the middle of the slide. If you're heading straight for the metrical records, I would use most definitely here the button that says search vital records. So what results are you getting? If you search for the vital records, here you have basically the full list what you can find there in Polish State Archives on particular location. This is the alphabetical list. As you can see, you're getting the location, you are getting to know what was the voivodeship until 1998 for this particular location. You will get the confession, you'll get the church name, the dates of the records that are available for this particular unit, the font number. So this, as I described, that the reference code or the signature, the number, the unit number, and the number of scans if they are available on the website. Because as I said before, it's very important. Not all of the records are digitized, although there are many records that digitized at the very moment, and maybe I'll come back to the precise number by the end of the webinar. But of course, this is a process, right? More and more are being digitized, so you may be lucky enough to find the location of your Polish ancestor being available here on the website. So as you can see, the first tab, location, this is where you enter the location. So it's searched through the alphabetical list and you'll get the full information of the records availability, if they're available on website as scans, or they are available only physically in the archives. Yeah, as you can see, even here on the slide, the first locations, Abramowice, Adamów, Adamówka, you can see that the scans are available, so you may expect to go through the scans and records online. But as you see at the end of here on the presented slide, there are Adamy, but the number of scan is 0, which means that you will find this record only physically in the archive. Once you will click into this link of this documentation, you will get the further information in which exact archive you can find it. You can go there, you can fly there, or you can write an email to the particular archive to ask for help, or you can ask for help our organization, of course. So as you could see, this is the search bar, the particular location that you will see when you click the search of the vital records. But you can also click on so-called pradziad. Maybe there are some of you who still remember that the most important metrical search engine as for Szukaj w archiwach on the previous version was called pradziad. Pradziad in Polish is simply great-grandfather, pradziad, it's ancestor. Like, we're not really using this word anymore, but this is the way how we call our ancestors, pradziady. So you can, if you navigate to the site and see this symbol, that also will redirect you straight to the actual metrical records search. But let's go through the particular case study. So just to make it a little bit easier for you and clearer, I decided to give you as an example Nowy Sącz, right, in the southern Poland, quite a big city, mountain city. So I entered the name of Nowy Sącz, and I hope that you can see that these are with Polish characters. So there's Nowy, which means new. Sącz, you can see the letter A with a little dash down there. And as I said, it is possible if you enter Nowy Sącz such without Polish character, that it will result with zero finds. So as I mentioned before, that would be handy to use Wikipedia. I know that not everybody has Polish keyboard, so just type it in Wikipedia. It will give you the direction, and you can copy and paste the name from there. So I entered it here into the search engine. I pressed the metrical records, and this is just a tiny bit of the list of the available records that I can see. You can filter the metrical records. There are many filters. You can filter by date, by confession, type of metrical records, so either birth, marriages, or deaths. You can enter a particular year scope. so you can narrow down the research time. You can search by community, by location, archives, or even copyrights, right? So here, as you can see, very importantly, there are also different confessions. On the example of Nowy Sącz, the first one are evangelical, the second one are Jewish, the third one are Roman Catholic. Yeah, just a few first units from the list. So basically, in order to see, for example, if I wanted to look through the records through the records, I click any of these entries. And let's say that I wanted to search for the marriage record of Roman Catholic parish of Nowy Sącz. As you can see, here is the reference code, right? And on that view, on this particular view, you won't get the information as for the if the scans are available or not. But clicking on the reference code, most definitely you will be sent to the scans if they are available. So in case of Nowy Sącz, I click on the reference code, and here's the information that I am receiving. So as you can see, I do hope that one day and shortly the descriptions will be also available in English, but here are the most important information. So we have the scans available for Nowy Sącz. As you can see, they are in the number of 2,537. The border dates, so the range of the years which is available for the marriages are 1890 to 1920, 1890 to 1928. And so this is what I expect to find, the records that I'm searching as for the marriages. And after clicking on scans, on the list of 5, there are particular series. And as you can see there, this whole unit, it's just not just marriages, but also birth records and death records. And here, this under this reference code, under the signature that I picked from the list, from the initial list after I entered Nowy Sącz into the search engine, I have the birth records and the marriages records from 1819 to 900 at the very top of as for the results of the search. So here I just simply click on the particular scans, and I'm going and I'm being sent to the scans, and I can see the whole register, the whole book. So you can navigate through the pages. Once you click on a scan, you are able to zoom in. You are able to zoom out. You can download this page. You can share. So on and so forth. You can simply go through the records, right? So I know it's not super easy. I know the website Szukaj w archiwach is not perfectly translated, but there are the ways to decipher that using the Google Translate or polishing your Polish a little bit. Nevertheless, once you go through it once, I am more than sure it's intuitive enough that you will be able to search to this website for sure. I know there are some questions on the chat, but as I said, I cannot focus on presentation and reading through the chat, so I will try to answer all of your questions by the end of the webinar. So, as I said, the most important step is knowing the location. It's not obvious that if you have the name, it's in a particular province, because, as I said, there may be different. Then one location name may appear in different provinces, so you have to specify that, and there are websites that helps you specify that, or organizations or archives themselves that can help you to specify where exactly there may be scans available, or search in the archives. You have to just enter the proper location with Polish characters. Wikipedia may help you with entering the Polish characters, and then you just see if the scans are available. clicking on the reference code, as I said, right? That you can see here on the left hand side, left top corner. So this is how you go through the scans. What is really important that apart from searching by location, you can search by name. Yeah, and I can see that this is the exact question from the chat. Why you can search by name? Because there is just together with the process of the digitization, there is a process of indexing these records. So the records are being indexed, surname. So it's highly possible that having even this general first search engine that you have when you enter the website of szukajwarchiwach, search in the archives, when you enter the name, if it was indexed, you may see that if it appears in the records, it will be shown in the results of your search, right? So you will get the particular records and the records location. So if you were on this example of this slide, if you are lucky enough that your ancestor, Mieczysław Kowalewski, or as you can see the second one, Bronisław Kowalewski, left in this year period that is shown here on the slide, 1948. You can see it's in Opole State Archive. Unfortunately, there are no scans for this particular records, but they are available in the archive. What do? You're going to the list of archives. On the main page, as I showed you at the very beginning, you're copy and pasting the address of the archive. You can always write to them to see, showing them the signature, as you can see here on the slide. So the reference number, saying that I would like to see if this record belongs to my ancestor, describe my ancestor's data, right? So this is one of the options. Of course, you have to compare. You have to compare if this particular data really concerns your ancestors. Sometimes you can tell it straight away from even that result, the search result. Sometimes you have to go through the record to know for sure that it concerns or concern not your ancestor. Here, as you can see, there, apart from the actual acts, documents, there are also photos. You will be lucky enough, you will find a photo of your ancestors in Polish State Archives as well. One of the most interesting records that just been recently added to the Szukaj w Archiwach available scans are, among others, ID applications. And they are very exciting because apart from the data on your ancestors, very precise one, you also get the photos of your ancestors. And what is really important to say that you will not, most of the cases, you will not find the passports of ID of your ancestors, Polish ancestors in the Polish State Archives. But as you can see on the example, you may be lucky enough to find the applications for identification documents. And what kind of information you may find in this documentation? So there's obviously surname, first name, date of birth, place of birth. There is information about the parents, about the height, about the shape of the face, about the hair, eyes, so on and so forth, together with signature, together even with the testimony of the house owner where the particular person lived in this particular document case. So that's very, very interesting. Very important to outline, these ID applications are not available for, there's not 100% that will be available for each location, but if once you know your ancestor location, you may find out which, well, you may you may ask the particular state archive which location, which state administration were issuing the IDs or passports, and then you know about which you need to ask for to see if these documents even survived for this particular location. So you can search if your ancestor were applying for identification documents such as this one. For example, this unit covers these are acts of the city of Tomaszów Mazowiecki in central Poland, and are being stored in State Archives of Piotrków Trybunalski, the branch of Tomaszów Mazowiecki, right? There is a whole reference code as well. So, as I said, there are very interesting documents that you can find in the search of in the archives, not just the metrical records. What is really important, not all of the records are available as scans, but you will get the full information on all of the records that are being stored in Polish state archives. As you can see, as for the search name, these are being indexed. Here are tags that are under this particular unit, documentation unit that covers the identification documents issued in Tomaszów Mazowiecki. The tags are quite precise. So first one, Kozarek Kazimiera Marianna. So the woman named Marianna Kazimiera Kozarek, who was born in 1909 in Nowy Port Tomaszów Mazowiecki. There's even the reference code of her application, right? So I can imagine that entering on search archives main engine, not imagine, but I know that when you open the website and there is a main search engine, you enter Marianna Kazimiera Kozarek, or Marianna Kozarek, or Kazimiera Kozarek, or Kozarek. That particular record, this photo, the scan will be one of the results of the search for this portal, for this database. So I hope that your Polish ancestor names will be also tagged, and you will be able to find them through as simple as that process. So just entering their name into the search engine. So what is really also important to remember is the fact that apart from this main search engine and apart from this main portal of Polish State Archivesnet, so search in the archives, particular archives, the individual state archives in Poland have their own websites, right? And apart from this main process of digitization, they are doing the digitization of the records in the particular archives, and they are being the scans are being waiting to be added to the main page, and while they are waiting, they're in many cases being also available on the individual website of the state archives. So you can navigate through the individual page of the state archives. You can see what records of theirs are already digitized. And in this case, you can see on the slide here, on the presentation, the website of Kraków State Archives and different documentation unit that you can just enter from here, and it will take you to the scans of these particular units. So apart from searching through search in the archives, so szukajwarchiwach website, it is worth to visit the individual website of the archives. Since you know the location of your Polish ancestors, where they came from, you can go through the archive where the records are stored and see what range of the scans of digitized records do they offer. So that was Kraków. Here is Przemysł. So in southern Poland, they have also a very big database of digitized documentation. Very interesting units, documentation units. You can search through this website as well. Also very important, as I mentioned before, one of the oldest state archives in Poland. So AGAD, this is one of the three central archives, as I mentioned, in Polish archival system. they have the records which were evacuated from so-called Kresy, so the former territories of Poland that covered nowadays Ukraine, Lithuania, even Belarus. It can be found, some of these records, some of this documentation records that was evacuated can be found here. They were digitized and they are available entirely online, right? So so you can search through these records as well, and they are not available within the Szukaj w archiwach search engine. They are available through this AGAD archive, especially the metrical records. So that's it. As I said, there is a main website, so Szukaj w archiwach, that give you the information on all the records that are being stored in state archives, plus the scans, if they're available and digitized. I know that was this presentation. Through this presentation, I want to give you the main information on how they are being stored, where are they being stored, what is the most important while searching through this portal. But of course, if you have struggles, if you have more questions, need some help, you can always contact us through our email addresses, through our website. I highly encourage you to do that with any of the questions that you have. As I mentioned, there is a YouTube channel where you can see when you will find the recording from this webinar as well. And from the other webinars on a basic search of records in Poland and any others, many interesting ones. You will find my webinars presentation that I did on RootsTech, by the way, as well. So if you want to see, please, I encourage you to see the recordings and subscribe our channel. There will be more. So that's it. Thank you very much for the Szukaj w archiwach session. I hope you learn more, that you will learn more about your ancestors. And I invite you for the short question and answer session. As I said, we don't have the whole day, the whole evening. There are many other exciting activities. So if I don't answer some questions, I'll be more than happy if you just send me an email or message, and I'll try to help you all. If not, then you already have the list of the archives and you can write to them yourself and they have to answer you. There is no other way. This is their obligation. So, okay, so I will just now turn to question and answer sections. And just a second, I will navigate through chat to see your questions. Just a second, it's not really that easy. With this question and answer section, but I will try to make it as quick as possible. Thank you very much for your for everybody who's already leaving, for your attendance today. That means a lot to me. Thank you very, very much. Just a sec. Okay. Interesting question from Genevieve. I'm now curious, how long does it take someone to scan a batch of records? Perhaps it would give those of us that are searching more patience in waiting. So, as I said, I wanted to tell you how many records are now scanned. So I will just tell you in a second. This is the way of scanning, the whole process is being regulated by the director of Polish State Archive System, basically. So there are a lot of requirements that they have to meet. They're waiting in line. I think that in some cases, it may take even several years more to digitize them all. Nevertheless, there are separate smaller projects of genealogists, of historians, of archivists that they are scanning different type of documentation. So of course, today we focused only on the szukajwarchiwach website. But what is important to outline is that there are many other databases where the scans of different records of the Polish archival system are available, and I will be happy to share them with you. Later on. They're also available on different recordings from on our YouTube channel as well, like Polish databases online. Yes, patience is important. Nevertheless, hopefully there's not just Szukaj Archive in the archives portal. There are other smaller projects where you can use their work, the scans that they did, the indexation that they did to find the proper information about your ancestors without going out from home, basically. Okay. Other questions. I was told that any birth, marriage, and death records per 1894 reside with the parish church. Do you agree? Absolutely not. Of course, there are very little cases that the records, the metrical records, so the birth, marriages, and deaths are only available in the parish archives. It only happens when, for some reason, the records that were being stored in state institutions were either stolen or burned, mostly because of the wars. But the rule was mainly that, especially before 1894 or even 1870s, the priest at the church was also a part of state administration, and they had to make the copies for the state institutions of the records that they were being issuing on the births, marriages, and deaths. So the original records were being stored in parish, but the copies were sent to the diocesan archives, and the other copies to the state institutions, right? Because they were using, especially for statistic purposes. So the good news is that even if you approach the situation that the records are in parish, you need to know that the copies are supposed to be stored in a particular diocesan or archdiocesan archive to which the parish belonged, or in the civil office. So not just the parishes, most definitely not just the parishes. Okay. Interesting question. Is there a way to find ships leaving Poland and heading to United States? So very important to outline that the first ships that were actually leaving Poland and going to United States started in 1930s from Gdynia. So before that, the ancestors, your Polish ancestors that were emigrating, people from Polish territory that were emigrating before 1930s, they had to do it through different ports in Europe. Through different ports in Europe, in Hamburg, in Antwerp, through Amsterdam. They were shipping. So in order to find information on that ships, you would need to find it in the archives of these countries, although there are multiple databases, especially as for the immigration, we're talking about ancestry.com or MyHeritage or Family Search that can provide you with the information about the immigration records, about the ships themselves. From Poland, as I said, that's Gdynia, 1930s, and Gdynia State Archives. This is where you will find more information. Okay, another question. The Diecezja Przemyska Baptism Certificate of my grandfather lists parents' names which are eligible to me. How can I solve this and find out their names? Diane, eligible, meaning that you cannot read this, right? Eligible, or they're actually not known. The parents are not known, right? Eligible, right? The parents are not known. Just a second. Maybe Diane, if you're still here with us. Yes, yeah, you're saying yes. Cannot read the names. Okay, so there are names, but you cannot read them. So what I highly recommend is either you can send it, or of course, to us. We can try to help you. This is the fastest way, I think. The other thing is that sometimes if you have the full page of the entries, and they're like from Diecezja Przemyska, from Przemyśl Diocese records, there of Galician regulation of the ways how they were being created. So they are made in a table forms. Say basically they include similar information. And what is important to remember that it's quite common that within one location, the surnames and the names were being repeated, right? So it is possible that when you will go through the whole year of the births from this particular location, you will find similar surnames or similar names, right? So comparing these, you may get the idea what the surname is, right? So this is one of the ways. The other ways is to send it to somebody who have more experience with reading this documentation, such as I do. The other things, there are a lot of forums like Polish Genealogy Helper on Facebook, for example, website that there are people that that can help you with deciphering these names. So there are several ways, and I hope that you will succeed with getting to know these actual names. Okay, other questions? Okay, forgive me if you have already addressed this. I'm trying to find civil records in Wrocław, but when I come to the list, it says no files. Does that mean that they exist but are not yet digitized? Okay, so as for Wrocław, there's a high chance that, as far as I know, most of the records exist and survived the wars. There was one awful flood in the 1990s, as far as I remember, that some of the records were destroyed, but still, I think in case no files, meaning there are no scans available online, but the particular units has to be available in Wrocław State Archives physically in the reader room. Or in the physical, in a form of paper documents or the microfilms. So I would either write to Wrocław State Archives and ask for availability of these records. At the same time, these Wrocław records, maybe the units, have been also microfilmed by Mormons, and back in the 20th century, and may be available and digitized on Family Search catalog. So I would recommend to see that. If not, so if they are not available there, and not available on the search Szukaj w archiwach because there are no files, then I would write directly to the Wrocław State Archive. Okay. 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 Which archive contains the records for the Wielkopolska voivodeship? I do not see it is the list of in the list on the archive website I take. There are, like, if you look on the map on the, so basically there's a list, but there's also a map on the website, on the map of the main website of the state archives. So I would just see more or less where Wielkopolska province is, voivodeship, and see what state archives are there. As far as I remember, from Wielkopolska, there is a Poznań State Archive, Bydgoszcz State Archive, and a few others. So either you will find it on a map comparing to the provinces, but I think that there's a it's being described through based on the provinces, the map view. If not, then please, George, you could write us, and most definitely we will list all the state archives for Wielkopolska voivodeship for you. So that will be easy to be done. Okay. That's also an interesting one. Did Poland keep track of residents who left Poland for other countries? Depends on the region, really, and depends if such lists were created, especially in the police files. But it depends on the region, depends on the file keeper. So again, if you know more or less from what location your ancestors, or through what location, again, your ancestors emigrated through, you can check if these list exists with the particular archive that covers the documentation and storage for this location. Again, right? But it is possible to be found, to be fine. I'm looking for a location from 1930s. Am I looking for Gdańsk or Danzig? That's a good question. You can look for both. This is what I would suggest. In some cases, like as I said, in case of Szukaj warchiwach, it's mostly it has to be the location name exactly how it sounds in Polish. But it may be possible that some units are still described Danzig. So I would look for both. Okay. Okay, just a second, we have something more here. Okay, I think from the, like, a general question, we have the, like, if you have more precise questions when you're asking for particular locations or the names, I would have to go back on the website and search for them. So I'll be more than happy to do that if I will get that in an email message. Last but not least, are these presentation slides available for us? There is a recording, as I said, so it will be soon available on our YouTube channel. So you can just stop the recording whenever you need to and just copy the information from each slide. I think this will be the most efficient way to get all the information from the slides of this presentation. So I encourage you to do that. It will be available very soon. I think as for the question time, that's it. Thank you very much for being here. I hope that you will find out more about your Polish ancestors. It was very, very nice to do this little presentation for you tonight. Again, if I didn't manage to answer some of the question, I'll be more than happy to do it through the emails or any kind of means of communication that we have connected with our organization. It's Facebook, Instagram. And I hope that we will see you on the next presentation. Thank you very, very, very much. Do widzenia, do zobaczenia, and good luck with your Polish ancestry research. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Do widzenia.